Hello everybody, Assassinator back with another tips and tricks achievement guide for Z-Warp. Now this game is available for Xbox, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Switch. So on the PlayStation 4 and 5, you're able to get trophies. Now this game comes out on April 6, 2022, so that is tomorrow from when I'm gonna post this video. It has an MSRP of $6.99. It was developed by Panda Indie Studios along with East Asia Soft. Published by East Asia Soft, who gave me a review copy of this game. This game is basically what they would consider an arcade bullet hell type game, kind of like Raiden, for those of you who know that game. And overall, it's sort of short. The achievements are sort of straightforward, but will require some skills. Now I'm going to go ahead and give you tips and tricks on how to get all these achievements. I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about these achievements. So there's killing 100, 500, and 1,000 enemies. Now with that said, that is pretty straightforward. You don't have to do that obviously in one playthrough. It adds up over each playthrough. So if you got 100 in one playthrough plus another 100 in the second playthrough, you basically have 200 kills is how it registers on there. Now the same goes with power-ups. You need to collect 10, 25, and 50 power-ups. You need to clear stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which is the end. Each stage that you clear, you will get an achievement for that the first time you clear it. Now you have to defeat 5, 10, and 15 bosses in total. Again, you can go ahead and play the first boss over and over and defeat them 15 times and you'll end up getting these achievements. Now the hardest and skill-based one will be scoring 500,000 points or higher in story mode, along with scoring 500 points or higher in endless mode. Each of those will end up giving you an achievement. And again, those will probably be the hardest, but I do have tips and tricks on how to actually get those. So we'll start off with controls for an Xbox controller since that's what I'm playing on. So we're gonna start off with A. You go ahead and push A rapidly and that's gonna go ahead and shoot the regular shots. There's holding A, which shoots out a consistent beam, but it makes it where you're not as maneuverable. So it hits a lot more, but at the same time, you cannot move left and right as fast. You move left and right with the left stick. And then the last mechanic would be the bombs. Now the bomb lets out a ring. You can go ahead and see that there's a green ring and a blue ring. Obviously, if you get to the green ring, that will mean that your bomb is at its max, but you'll see the blue ring growing from inside. Now the ring, or the bomb ring, will actually destroy any lasers that are shot at you, any enemies that are near you, obviously unless it's a boss, and you're gonna end up needing that in the further waves because that's when they actually have an unmissable, you cannot dodge laser that comes at you. It's a single ring that comes at you or cluster that comes at you, and that will be the only way to actually make it through that or some of these other, I guess, higher stage levels. Now with that out of the way, we're to the tips and tricks. So the first achievements that we're going to talk about is killing 100, 500, and 1,000 enemies. Those are straightforward. There's no need for me to go ahead and review those. Next up, we have collecting 10, 25, and 50 power-ups. Now there's a spot at the beginning of level 1. I'm going to go ahead and show it right now. And you can actually collect both of these by using a maximum size bomb ring. So basically you let the bomb out when it's at maximum. If it's within the circle of the bomb ring, you'll go ahead and collect both of them. That would kind of be the quickest, and obviously you're going to collect more of these as you play through the game. So the next achievements that I'm going to talk about are defeating 5, 10, and 15 bosses in total, along with clearing stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I'm going to go ahead and at the end of this video, I'm going to go ahead and attach a full playthrough so you'll go ahead and see the first boss, second, third, fourth, and fifth along with the stages and how I cleared all of them in one, I guess, playthrough. I do die. That is going to happen, and you do sometimes have continues. That's why I play it on easy, because that's the easiest, but when you do continue, your score starts all over with 0. So if you're trying for those, 500,000 point runs, it isn't going to happen if you continue. But I'll go ahead and leave that video footage so you can go ahead and see that, and hopefully that will help you beat these bosses. You'll kind of see what they do because they all have certain waves to them. What they do in wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and they kind of rinse and repeat as it goes on until you finally actually kill them. The first one is one of the harder ones, and then obviously the last one's the hardest, but the ones in the middle are not really that hard overall. So I found that kind of weird there, but that does happen in certain games. Next up will be the tips and tricks on how to score 500,000 points or higher in story mode. Now I did this on easy because obviously you have less lasers coming at you. I think it's the same amount of enemies. Obviously the boss is kind of the same, but to me it's the easiest. So I'm playing the footage of where I actually did this. And what I did was I found it easiest to not kill the final boss, but use all his lasers as points, use any of the enemies around him as points, but I try not to shoot him until I had to actually shoot him. There's certain times that you have to actually shoot at him, and I was able to earn almost half the score on stage 1. And then I basically did the same exact thing on stage 2. Basically, you score points for every laser that's out there. When that, I guess, wave ends, it all turns to points. Every boss that comes at you, you have to shoot at them, so that's where I actually hit him at. You can also use the bomb burst, and that will kill some of his lasers, adding to your points. And you kind of see by on screen me actually doing that. I don't shoot at him at all. I just go ahead and collect the points from actually his lasers and everything. And then that one wave, which I guess I'd consider that wave 4 before the reset, I actually had to shoot at him. He got hit a bit. But if you have the time and the patience, you do it this way, unless you have the skills. If you have the skills, obviously you don't have to do it like this. You can play through stages 1 through whatever it takes in order to get that 500,000. But this is the way I found it easiest, and hopefully it helps some of you actually get this. The same thing with the endless mode. I was able to get my 500,000 from doing the same exact thing. This basically just milking it with time, milking it, throughout the whole thing. The only thing is, it's a bit harder to do, so you might want to actually try a few times on completing it just from one playthrough. But remember, if you die, you will end up without getting this, because you start all over with 0 points. So hopefully you found this video informative. I'm going to go ahead and continue leaving this play so you can kind of see what I actually did to collect the 500,000 in story mode. And then I'm going to play after that a playthrough from the beginning to end, and so you'll actually see me completing the whole stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So basically you can kind of reference back to here. This game is basically skill based in order to get all the achievements. I would say all except for the 2 hardest, which is the 500,000, are the only ones that require skill. But after that, it's kind of butter. In all, this game took me about 45-50 minutes to get the 1000G, so it should be roughly about the same for you, maybe even faster if you have more skills than I do, and you also use my tips and tricks. And really the only tips and tricks I really came with is how to get that 500,000. That's the one that, it would take trial and error trying to figure those type of things out. But hopefully it was something that helped you. So until next time, Assassinator out.